this is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about, but I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to talk about it. I have a bone to pick, if I'm honest. Why do bigger nose girls not have representation in media, in, you know, shows and movies and animation, and yeah. You know what I mean? Representation is so important for everybody, and for, the bigger the girlies who don't like have, button noses, like the beauty standard. Like, representation is so important. Like, why do you think so many people don't like the way they look, who have like who don't have like the beauty standard button noses? Because there's no appreciation. I feel like the only appreciation you will hear is like people being like, oh, you look like a Greek god, you look like a statue from Greece. And hello? And that is not always, or what do people say? I feel like that's what people always say. You look like ancient artifact. Like, I don't know what people say. Like, that is the representation. You know what I mean? That girls with like who don't have button noses. That is our representation. So, as a girl who doesn't have a button nose, it has always been a huge insecurity of mine. It has always been something that I've always been picked on for my friends. Mostly my friends. None of the people I'm friends with today. The real ones. They're real ones. But, so like as a teenager, I struggled a lot with my appearance. And had there been more like representation growing up for like for bigger nosed girlies, I feel like I wouldn't have possibly been as insecure as I was as a teenager, especially because when you're a teenager, you're very influenced by the beauty standards, and if people are literally telling you you have a big nose and you don't see any like representation in media, you're like of course you're like, damn, like I want to change that about myself. Like, I don't like that. There are of course male characters in plenty of shows who do have big noses, because for men it is not really an issue if you have, a big nose or not, because no one really cares. In fact, a lot of people prefer that, or they like that quality in men. It is not the same with women, or with like being a teenage girl or whatever. There is Disney princess movies, and you look at all of the princesses, they all have the same nose, pretty much. I mean, it might change like a little bit, but there is not like a single Disney princess who has like a crooked nose or like a bump on their nose. Like, they all have like the slope noses. You know who doesn't though? The villains. The villains in like all of the Disney movies will typically have a bump on their nose, because having a bump on your nose, or like having a crooked nose or whatever, is like a symbol of like being evil, being the bad guy, of being like the ugly one, the ugly stepsister, the bad guy, the villain. Yeah. So that's a really great message for young, impressionable girls, right? In the past, I've like seen people talking about like what their different facial features signify, like spiritually, or just like, those facial readings they do, what your facial features signify about you, your personality, your life, that sort of thing. Like, what does it mean spiritually? What does it mean in that sense? and I've looked up what like my nose type means, and it would be like, oh, this nose type, like the button nose means, oh, you're so cute and youthful and beautiful. And then I've looked up like my nose type, and it'd be like, you're evil or something. Like okay, I don't remember specifically like what it said, but it was literally something like, you are evil. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. The kitties. It's stigmatized or stereotyped or whatever. To when you don't have like the traditional beauty standard nose. Like when, yeah. In anime, you'll see an anime like literally everybody has the little like the little, and I love anime. I love that art style. I love drawing that. Those characters. And of course, like everything I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with a button nose. I love button noses as well. I've always really admired people who have button noses. Not hating on anybody who does. But in anime, the representation is pretty much non-existent. I mean, I feel like though not a lot of animes have a lot of diversity. I mean, I also have maybe not watched enough anime to really speak on that. But I know for like regarding noses, like they always have like the same like anime side profile, like the classic anime side profile. One anime that I can think of though, and again, maybe I haven't seen enough animes to be talking about this, but one anime I can think of that did have nose shapes for women was Attack on Titan. And there was actually I feel like there was a lot of different types of nose shapes for women specifically. Like the first person that comes to mind is Annie. I know there's other ones though, but I wasn't a big Attack on Titan fan, so I don't even know any of their names really, but I know Annie's name because people would say that I look like her. Yeah, Attack on Titan did have some representation for like bigger noses, but I don't know. I feel like they are one of the only animes that really does, that I can think of anyways. Like then again, I haven't, seen, I mean, I've seen probably like, I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen enough, but like every anime I've seen, they pretty much look the same. Like the facial features pretty much have very little distinction from the rest of the characters. Another example that I can think of where there is also representation is Arcane. Arcane is a really, 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 really good example. Vi and Savika, I think I'm saying her name right. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying her name right. I love her. I don't think I've ever had to say her name aloud before, but I don't know. Like characters in that show that I don't know, can't remember the names of off the top of my head. Caitlyn doesn't have like a beauty standard like button nose either. There are like a lot of different like varieties of nose shapes in Arcane for women, and I think that is really cool. But then again, Arcane is one of literally Arcane and Attack on Titan are two of the like literal only examples that I can think of. And that's not to say that there aren't other shows out there. I'm not saying that. Of course, I'm sure that there are like animated shows like this, but they are few and far in between. And these shows are relatively new. Relatively. Attack on Titan, I don't know when that show came out, but Arcane came out in like 2021. Just the amount of like the amount of shows that just do not have oh my gosh, The Last of Us does have Dina in The Last of Us. I totally forgot about her. I love her. Anyway, these are just the examples that I can think of and that I am personally aware of. But like I was saying, in Disney movies, no. And a lot of like kids shows and cartoons that, you know, I watched growing up, no. Even like I feel like a lot of like actors they have for shows and stuff, they're kind of, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. This is just how I've always felt, that there has been like such little representation. There is one show that I can think of where a character had a deviated septum, and it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or something like that, and it's a guy. So, you know, you'll look up on social media big nose, or like girls with big noses, and you know what comes up? Nose job results. The before and after of girls with big noses who got nose jobs. That is the first thing that comes up when you will look that up. And you're like, is this trying to tell me something? Like, what are you? And, you know, maybe you're looking for some representation. You want to see other girls who look like you and who are confident and whatever. And you see all of these girls getting nose jobs to have the button nose. And I know it's intentional why that stuff comes up when you look it up. You know, they probably want to make more money and to have people get nose jobs so that, you know, these places get doctors and whatever get money. That's not just with noses, that's with everything. They want people, you know, the beauty standard. If we're insecure, we go out, we buy products to make us feel less insecure. They get Botox, they get these weight loss pills of Ozempic and whatever, they get whatever else people do, lip injections. If we're insecure, they make money. All of that being said, I actually don't know what my final point is. All of that being said, big nose girlies are underrepresented. What is the expression? What is the word? There is not enough representation, I feel like. Especially I feel like in like animated shows and whatever, I feel like they like to like give the characters all the same kind of like style, and they like give them like essentially the same like face shape, and they just kind of like change the eye color, change the hair color, maybe change the skin color, but then they kind of keep like the general outline, like copy and paste. And you know, like it could be argued like that's a style choice. I just feel like that, I don't know, not every show has to have like a character with, you know, a big nose or whatever, but I just feel like there should be more representation and not just like make them the villain or the ugly stepsister. Or I think representation for everyone is so important, and everybody like deserves to feel seen and to like see a character, whether it's like an animated character or like an actor, like that they feel seen by, and that they like feel like they can see themselves in them. You know what I mean? Everybody deserves that. And yeah, I think it's so important to have people who aren't like the beauty standard. Like everywhere you look, it's basically people who are the beauty standard. And growing up with a facial feature or like a feature or whatever that is not the beauty standard is pretty difficult. And from an outside perspective, like people might be like, that's not even that big of a deal or whatever, but I mean, everybody's experiences are different, and I feel like it is really difficult when it's you with that feature. It's easier to look maybe at somebody who has it and you're like, who cares? But when it's you, it feels more like significant. Our insecurities feel bigger to us, than they feel to anybody else. It's because we see our own faces the most. Like, we have to look at ourselves the most, so we're gonna pick out our flaws and our insecurities. That's just kind of how it is. As even though, like, yeah, in the past we saw our reflections the least, which I think was better for us. Constantly having a phone camera, mirrors everywhere, I feel like it is a number on our self-esteem, and it's not good to be looking at yourself all the time. Like, who's that woman who said, like, I think you guys think about yourselves too much? Like, yeah, yeah. You know what? But at the same time, I still think it would be nice to see some more diverse noses in media. And not just in like shows and cartoons, in of course, social media as well. It is very easy to be influenced by what is the beauty standard, what you see like everybody on social media and what they look like. And a lot of them look very similar in facial features. Everyone seems to want to look the same. I feel like they want to have nothing that stands out about them, or I don't know. I feel like people want to look the same. Like, we're erasing individuality. We're like unique features. Also the same with like people's teeth. Like, everybody has like such unique teeth as they do bone structure. And it's like they just want to get veneers, and like as hard as it is to like accept your flaws and all of that, I think it's really important. It's a part of self-acceptance and self-love. And like I was saying about being too obsessed with ourselves and our appearances, I think that is very true as well. Even if it's obsession in an insecure way, you can be obsessed with yourself and be insecure about it, and it's still being obsessed with yourself, I guess. So, there are a lot more important things in the world to focus on than how we look. Of course. I saw like a quote or something. It was like, you're beautiful, and that's the least interesting thing about you. And I think that's cute. Also, if you are somebody who like doesn't fit the beauty standard, there's nothing wrong with not fitting into the beauty standard. That is such a confined, like such a small, narrow box. Like, it is just like, yeah, it's just stupid. It's stupid, and it's it's a money hunger thing. Also, if somebody's like being mean to you, picking on you because of your appearance, they are 100% projecting their own insecurities onto you, and it feels so personal. Like, I know it feels so personal when they're doing that, and when they're picking at things they know you're insecure about. But looking back on the people who have been so outwardly that way towards me, they were very, very insecure people. And in the moment, like when I was a teenager, I did not believe that. I thought, no, like I didn't believe that in the moment, but in hindsight now, I know 100% that was the case. And it's very, very obvious, honestly. You know, how bad does a person have to feel about themselves to feel the need to like pick out other people's appearances and like criticize another person? Like, who would desire to do that? Like, an insecure person would desire to do that. so so basically, yeah, don't take it to heart too much. That is not a person that you should be keeping around. Anyways, if they're a friend, thank you for watching this video. If you like know of other shows that like, I don't know, have like characters that don't all just like look like the beauty standard, let me know, because I'm sure there's more shows out there, you know, that I don't know about. If you enjoy the content that I make, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe.